Today we're going to learn how to bake an amazing yet simple sourdough loaf. We've got all of our ingredients right here. Everything's going to go together. My AP flour, going to put that in. We got our rye flour, we've got our salt, and we've got our water. So this is my liquid levain that I fed last night. And then all I'm going to do is just pour her in a controlled way. Now we have all of our ingredients in here, all four, and we're ready to mix it. So you want to start on low speed. This is called the incorporation phase. You're just allowing all of the ingredients to mix together, the flour to hydrate. What we want to do is develop gluten without, creating heat or by friction. So all we're going to do is we're going to let it sit, and gluten will develop all on its own. Okay, we're back. So it's been 15 minutes, and I'm going to take this plastic off. I'm going to turn her up and develop some gluten. They say you're not supposed to turn it up this high, but honestly, if you turn it lower, then it does nothing. So I'm kind of just freeing it from the sides, and that way it gives me a nice little packet of dough. So I'm going to cover this, and then I'm going to pop it in. I have a proof setting in my oven. If you don't, then you can just put it in a nice warm place, and it might just take a little bit longer. Okay, so I've got my dough, and it's been about 25 minutes. Just going to get a little bit of oil on my hands. This is just canola oil, your basic vegetable oil. What I'm doing is I'm digging in here. I'm getting it loosened from the side. I'm going to lift, boop, and then flop it down on itself. And I'm going to do a 180, and then I'm going to do it on the other side. So I'm going to get a little lift and a flop, quarter turn. Lift, flop, quarter turn. So the reason that you want to lift and you really want to give it a little wiggle is because you want to develop that gluten. So gluten is developed by time. So the longer it sits, the more gluten that will develop, the more structure it will have, but also by agitation. So obviously in the mixer, that's one way to develop gluten, but the other way is by folding. But you want to be a little bit more aggressive. So you give it a little wiggle, pull, and then you flop it on itself. So we are going to do one more series of folds just to make sure that we get the gluten that we need in order to hold those big open crumbs. Because if you don't develop enough gluten, then you don't have anything to trap all of that wonderful gas. We are ready for our second and final fold. We're going to do the same process that we did before, the 4 individual folds. So I'm going to pop her back in her proof box, and we'll check her back in like an hour. So you can see this has been proofing about 2 hours now. You can see some nice big bubbles up in here. So I'm just going to kind of loosen some from the side of the bowl like that so that I can really feel the dough. And you're just going to kind of push up against it like so. But the dough still feels really dense and heavy and weighted almost. It doesn't feel light and airy. So back into it she goes. I'm going to set a timer for 45, and we will check back in with her in 45 minutes. Our bread's been proofing about really just shy of 3 hours. So you can see that it's risen more. There's lots of big bubbles going on, and if you touch it, it feels a little bit lighter, it feels less dense, and more airy inside. We are ready to divide and pre-shape. So go ahead and take a bit in your hands and just do a little on top of the dough. So we're just going to take a little bit of flour and flour our bench. Get all of the things out of it. That's the whole purpose of the bowl scraper. No dough left behind. We're going to pre-shape this into a round or a bowl. So you take this side, fold it over, over, and over, and over. Flip it over. If it sticks to your hands, flour your hands. You want to move quickly and basically pulling the dough underneath itself, like so, and then turning it. You can use the bench scraper to do this. You can kind of use that like your hand to shape it underneath like that. This is just a pre-shape, so it doesn't need to be super tight or anything. We really just want a smooth surface and to get it accustomed to its final shape. And then we're going to let them sit there for about 15-20 minutes. till they fully relax. We are at our final step for today anyways. We're gonna need to prepare the basket. So you don't wanna just drop them into these proof baskets. If you don't have these, you can totally final shape this, put it on a piece of parchment, but you can also do it inside of a bowl, but totally up to you. So the thing to do to prepare these is to dust them with rice flour. So here we are. In it goes, and we're basically going to do the exact same thing that we did before. So over, into the center, around, over, seams, seam to seam, into the center, and now you have a little bundle. She's very cute. Flip her over, seam side down, and then you're going to do your final shape. What you're looking for is you want it to be pulled up and perky and all tucked up into itself and in a round shape. And then you're going to plop her in here, upside down. You can see the seam in there. Okay, so this is totally ready to final proof. I'm going to cover it up, and then I'm going to put it in the refrigerator to retard overnight, and then we'll bake this in the morning. If I were going to bake these now, these will probably need to final proof for another 2.5 to 3 hours. I proceed to the next step from here. But we aren't going to do that. We are going to put them in the refrigerator and retard them overnight. So it's been about 16 hours since we put our dough in the refrigerator, and it's been retarding or proofing at a low temperature overnight. The important thing about when to bake your loaf is you want to bake it when it's ready. So I've seen that it's risen in the basket, but I can also feel that it's airy. So you can bake it straight from the refrigerator. It doesn't need to temp or anything like that, as long as it is appropriately leavened. Right now I have the oven preheated to 450 degrees, and I've just put the Dutch ovens that I'm going to use to bake the bread in the oven to preheat as well. The whole point of using a Dutch oven, the reason that I do so, is because it kind of traps the steam and it kind of delays the crust from forming. So the way you get that beautiful, big loaf that also has that crispy outside is by steam. So if you don't have a Dutch oven, or you do not have one that's small enough, then you can put a pan in the bottom of your oven, preheat the pan with your oven. Put the dough in, pour some water in the pan, and that will create steam. Quickly close the door, and that's as good as it's gonna get. You can create some wings. You've got a shape somewhat like this. Okay. So the key is, when you're scoring, you want to do it deep enough that enough air can escape. And you want to do it with purpose, so you don't want to just go in there all delicately. What that's going to do is make sure it's deep enough, it's going to be a clean score. Go in there with purpose. Obviously, hold your parchment. Keep scoring the dough as you turn it, making sure that you get all the sides. Then we'll bake it, take the pot from the hot oven, our dough into the hot Dutch oven. Make sure you don't touch it, it's really hot, and then cover it and then pop it in the oven. You can see here after 20 minutes I took the tops off. Our loaves have been baked and they are beautiful. So all we need to do is take them out of the Dutch ovens and let them cool completely. Finally, the moment we've been waiting for. So it's time to dig in.